Welcome back to the shop, Saturday morning. We delivered, I think, 6 or 7 of the kits last night, and some guys are already out there talking about how to build these, so I got to get cracking on these videos. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. Today I really want to talk about the core electronics and the EDF installation. Some stuff that I missed in the other video, so I'll just add it later on. First and foremost, the first step to doing this is going to be getting all the guts installed in here. And the most critical one actually is the EDF motor itself and the exhaust tube. You've been supplied a clear Mylar tube. You can see I'm using a 3D printed tube. I'll explain that in a minute. That's not by accident. Doesn't really matter. The most important thing, Mark has done alignment pins. This motor needs to be flush. 0, 0 is what we call it. So 0 left, 0 right, 0 up, 0 down. If you have any thrust angle in the EDF, every time you apply power and take power off, you're going to get a pitch and or direction change. We do not want thrust vectoring on this. The other critical thing, just so you know, when you look at the tube out the back, it's clearly offset, and the small part goes to the bottom. Because when you look at it to get 0, 0, there's a taper up here on the bottom, and that's why the small part goes on the bottom. You want 0 and then 0, 0, 0. That's what we're talking about. So if you're jumping ahead and you're doing stuff and you're installing the EDF, because that is the first step, make sure you get that right. You do need to set up your radio. You need to set up your Elevon settings, however you do it. I use Elevon mix on Futaba, is usually channel 1 and 6. I said we use aileron and elevator. That's actually not entirely true. It depends on how your radio works, but we only need 3 channels. So we got to set that up because we need to test the servos. We need to test the motor. We need to test things before we button this all up, because once we glue the wing on, we ain't getting back in here. So you got to make sure it's right. You also got to make sure the servos work. So it's not super hard once you've got your radio programmed. Make sure that the motor is secure so that we don't go full throttle. We don't need any accidents, but I've done all that. And all I really need to do right now, I've just got things loosely mocked up in here. If I can make a battery connection, I've made my battery connection. The first thing I'm going to test is I'm going to make sure that my servos, both of them, respond the way that I expect them to. So they're on the aileron and elevator channel. They're on elevons. They're moving at the same rate. Whatever you got to do in your radio, do in your radio. That's up to you to figure out, not me, because I don't know what brand radio you'd use. So both these servos work. I've got that sorted out. The next most important thing is make sure your motor, the EDF, is spinning in the correct direction. So it's not glued in, so I'm not going full throttle, but I am going to give it a little burp. That's all I got to do. Yes, it's spinning in the correct direction. If it's the wrong direction, all you have to do is change any 2 of the motor leads. Change any 2 of the motor leads, just reverse them, and then try again until the motor spins in the correct direction. I've got hot glue. I neglected to mention there is a use for hot glue. This is a high temperature hot glue. Don't use this. High temp hot glue will melt Depron like instantly. These little micro guys are low to medium temp hot glue. And again, you can buy these at any hardware store. They work great. And hot glue works really, really good on Depron. We're actually going to use it, or I'm going to use it. I will use it to install the EDF. There's a couple reasons I do that, but I'll especially use it to install the servos. What some people do when they install their servos, in a foamy, they'll wrap them in tape, and then they'll hot glue, not any other kind of glue, but hot glue, the tape into the foam. And the idea is if the servo ever goes bad, you cut the tape, you can pull the servo out. It doesn't really work on this one because once these things are in, the way we've designed it, everything is so tight, you would probably have to cut them out. And then, you know, if you got to replace the servo, put a former, a doubler, or whatever. But that is an option. You could wrap them, but hot glue works really good. You don't, and I'll show you in detail. They just slide right in there. And what you can actually do is don't put hot glue here. You actually put hot glue like a screw. So I'll put hot glue on the surface, and then I'll just kind of smush it in. Because these can't go anywhere. We just want a little bit of hot glue just to keep them from moving so that we have precise control. And again, if we ever have to replace these, we don't want a ton of glue in there that we have to tear apart the whole airplane just to get a servo out. So just a little bit of glue, enough to hold it, and I use a low temp hot glue. So that's a tip and trick. The other thing is, and I'll actually shut this off now, I don't need to put my batteries, is Velcro. The speed control, you can see there in the video as the battery falls. The speed control is just mounted with these tiny little Velcro dots. That's all I have ever done for any of my electric foamies. It's allowed to vibrate and it's in the airflow, which is what we need because it gets hot. Same with the receiver. It's just a Velcro tab and it's just free to wiggle all it wants. We've got to make sure that these wires do not get sucked into that fan. Ask me how I know. It ends really, really bad. We're not super concerned about the aerodynamic efficiency in here, and I'm going to explain that later. We're trying to build something simple. As I knock my tube off, that's okay. But we got to make sure those wires don't get in. So what a lot of guys do, and I talked about this, this is called hinge tape, commonly called blenderum tape, and it works really good. You can just run tape. You can tape these wires down inside of here, but whatever you put inside this area where that fan is, make sure it can't get sucked into the fan. I actually like to use low temp hot glue, and I'll just kind of put a blob down here at the bottom, and I'll smush those wires in there. Again, if you have to ever replace this servo, you don't want something that you can't get out. And hot glue works pretty good because you can literally just take pliers, cut an access hole, take a plier, grab the blob of glue, and it just pulls right off the dep run. So those are kind of some little building tricks that I've used over the years. When you're testing your servos, make sure the horns are centered. You want to center your horns with your servo, with your receiver, get them in the correct direction, because we don't want to be messing around with this stuff once that wing is on there. And that's going to be one of the last things we do is make this connection. So make sure all that works, make sure the servo works. You can, and this is a funny story, I did a maiden flight for a guy, beautiful airplane, took him all winter to build, and the flight lasted 30 seconds because he forgot to put the screw in the control horn on the elevator. So I rotated, things were going great, it just got lower and lower and crashed into the crop. Really, really sad loss for like what, a 35-cent screw. So those are some of the things. I'm going to move the camera around. I'm going to put it over my shoulder. I'm going to show you in depth some of the little things as we go through this. I guess I might as well talk about what we're doing here. Why Randy has this EDF 3D printed EDF cone, and that's because of this. We're thinking, but we can't testify it, of making a slightly more scale tail cone. So the idea is it is a single fan, but I can 3D print this nice little cover. It will be retrofit. It'll just glue right onto the back of yours. It's just a slightly cooler look. It's absolutely not required. It weighs 10 grams, so that's getting kind of heavy. Putting 10 grams at the back of a model is usually never good because that can affect the CG. So that's like a summer project, but I just want you to understand why I'm messing around with 3D printed tubes as opposed to the Mylar. The other thing that I'm going to tell you real quick, we found this out last night, is even though they're all 50 millimeter fans, they're not all exactly 50 millimeters in diameter. And what you're going to find is that some of the tubes that were supplied are going to go on and have a perfect fit. And some of them you're not going to be able to get on no matter how much lube you put on. It's just not going to fit. And some of them might be loose. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. And the problem is that all these 50 mil fans, even amongst the same manufacturer, the 4S version has a slightly different diameter housing than the 3S version. Who knew? It's actually the wall thickness that's changed. So I found that because when I 3D print, I'm printing to accuracy of 0.01 millimeter, and suddenly things just weren't fitting. So anyways, it's easy enough for you to do. These are just taped with normal Reuben tape. That's all Mark does. You don't need fancy tape. Just cut the tape off, and you have to restart your taping process. So this is the flat Mylar. It comes in with a pre-cut curve. This is like literally the easiest thing in the world to start this over again. You take your Mylar, if you're going to refit it, you tape it, put it on there like so, tape it right to the EDF housing like that, right? Because this is going to be permanent. Wrap her around, pull it nice and tight, hold it with your thumb, and of course this isn't working. So what we do, give this a little smush with your hands like so, squeeze this down into this tube, get the size that you want. Get it close to the end, as close to the end as you can. Make sure you're pulling this tight. Line everything up. That's looking pretty good. And then we'll just take another piece of tape real quick with my other hand and pull it nice and tight, and voila. And then one more in the middle, same kind of deal, respecting that thing. And boom. Oops, except for that, I just made my tube. Like literally took 10 seconds. Then you can go with your hands. You can smooth out, again, just using Scotch tape. Tape your seams. You don't have to worry about too much on the inside. Now, somebody asked a really fun question, what size ducting we were using. And there's a thing called FSA. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It stands for fan swept area. And ideally what you want, there's two areas that are really important for ducted fans. The intake size, which is big, you can see, and the exhaust size. So we're running 80 to 85% fan swept area. So a 50 millimeter fan, what's 80% of 50? It's 40. So this is a 40 millimeter duct. And what we're trying to do, the way you need to think of this, is EDFs, it's kind of like a little turbine. It's just pushing air, and it's your equal and opposite reaction. The more you push out the back, the more push you get going forward. Ducted fans, they're kind of like little vacuums. They suck air in and they push it out the back. You can think if you don't have any ducting, it's like being in first gear. It's thrust, but not a lot of top speed. What you want is use Bernoulli's theory is, if you reduce the volume, then you increase the velocity, which also reduces the pressure. Air goes from high to low. It actually helps you push the air out the back, but there are limits. So 80 to 85% is where we want to be, and that's what we've sized it for. So you don't need to know any other math. You can think of that, the tube, the exhaust tube, is kind of like putting it in like second gear or third gear. If we choke it too much, we don't have enough thrust to launch. We may not have enough thrust to actually get to top speed. So that's kind of what the tube does. You choke it down, you get a little more velocity, which helps on the high end at the price of sacrificing the low end. But because this is a Delta, Deltas don't fly, they're like a surfboard, the bottom end's not a big problem. So that's the stuff. I'm going to move the camera over here and I'm going to zoom in and show you some stuff. If you're building ahead of the videos, again, it's possible. It's not especially hard. The 0-0 thing is probably the most important. Make sure your servos, you're not gluing the world together. You're just installing servos. And then Velcro to hold everything in. It should look something like that. And if it looks like that, that's all it needs to be. You don't have to worry how tidy this is. Make sure that this is oriented the correct way is 0-0. And then the only other thing you're going to really have to do is once you get all this sorted out, you got to do the trim and a little bit of sanding and a little bit of painting. I forgot to tell you guys, it looks a lot better if this is painted black, which is why this is in black. So that's today's project. Got to go visit my grandson, which is always a treat for me. It's a Saturday. But when we have time, we'll do the build videos and show you a couple more tips and tricks how to make this fun. It is January, so slow down.